So I really wanted to make this video outside, but it has been cold and nasty and wet and raining all weekend. And so I decided I'm going to split this into two videos. I'm going to do one inside to show the details. That pot is coming off there. It's just hanging on there. I was playing around. I'll show this one and all the details on the inside today, and then weather permitting, I'll get some video of both vehicles outside and running. This is the first ROC Hobby Jeep that I bought. I've been calling it the green Jeep. The stowage changes from video to video, and I guess that's part of the fun. You can see that one's still got the stock too small jerry can on there, but it runs great, and everything's cool with it. And I'll get some action outside when weather permits. But for this project, this is what we've been working on. This is the SAS Desert Raider Jeep. You can see that. And I hung that lantern there because I figured the pack would cushion it, so maybe it won't shatter. What do you guys think? Dumb place to put a lantern? All the jerry cans and everything are now permanently attached. The hose is on the top. This is about 98% done. That's one of the tiny things I got to take care of. You can see the fitting for the hose still needs to be painted, as does this rack, or whatever you want to call it, bracket. That's still needs to be painted. Just a little brushwork touch up. All of the packs are attached with their own straps, so they're firmly on there and they can be removed. The jerry cans can be removed now. They're on with Zap Goo, but you might as well call them permanently attached. The figures are pretty much there. The headgear worked out the way I thought. I got it wet and I molded it on another figure that wasn't wearing a uniform, so I didn't have to worry about messing up these uniforms. And then I sprayed it with starch, and it held pretty good. And they're actually tacked onto these guys' heads with a tiny little bit of white Elmer's glue, and we'll see how that works out. But that was just one of the details I wanted to get on there, was them. And the monkey's coming off. He just sits on there for, you know, when she's on the shelf. If I were to run it with that on there, it would fall off immediately. I'm sure some of you are wondering about cost. Well, altogether, if I were to build this again right now, I'd have to spend at least minimum $800. The Jeep itself is $330. The SAS kit is, with shipping, it's about $200. And then there's all the little stuff, and you guys know how it is in this scale. This stuff is not cheap, and it adds up quick. It really does. But there's all kind of stuff in there. I like the way the Twin Vickers rides the jerry cans. Let's get a shot from up here. You can see they've all got their straps on them. They're all lashed down. I built those as separate units with the straps and the racks. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that these are photo etched brass, whereas these are plastic. Personally, I like the plastic better. I think the thicker is better for the purpose here. But the kit only came with 3 of those, so I could have put all 3 in the back. I decided to put them on the front and use the photo etch in the back. The guys are kitted out pretty well. There's a lot of details on here that you got to look twice to see everything that's there. There's stuff tucked behind the seats. There's stuff you can't see until you look close. That was one of the important things for me, was detail. And I think I talked in my last video a little bit about time. When I built static aircraft models in 1/24th and 1/32nd scale for decades, and I always built them as they would have been as they touched down after a sortie. The guy, he touched down, the pilot hopped out, closed the canopy, went off to be debriefed. Any minute now, they'll show up to rearm and refuel. And that's how I model all my aircraft, so they don't have bombs or drop tanks or any of that stuff on them. Some of them even got holes in them. But I did the same thing here. Now these guys right now, as you're looking at this Jeep, 4 hours ago, they left their base camp on a 5-day patrol. So that's where they're at. Everything's still pretty neatly packed. They both had showers this morning. They're wearing clean uniforms. It's like in the morning sometime on their first day out. They're about 4 hours out on a 5-day patrol. On the Jeep, I fixed up the spare tire. You guys have heard me bragging about that enough already with the proper cap. This base and jerry can are from the Dragon kit, and it can be removed if you take out the strap. The different packs, these packs are pretty cool. Let me get you a look at one of those. You get 4 of them in a lot, and they're like $10 for 4. I think I bought 2 lots. I got 8 packs, and then I filled them. All of the packs are filled with this foam. At one point in time, I got an item from somewhere. I bought something, and this was part of the packing material, and it works great. But all the little details to me are pretty much the most fun. They can get expensive, though. I spent a fair amount at Siren Ship Model and also at Zhukov's Attic, where I got stuff like the ammo case crates. And if you look down in there, I don't know how well it'll show up on video, but it does say, I think it says, yeah, 1,500 cartridges, caliber 45. There's another one in front of that. There's a case of grenades up in there. This piece is from the G.I. Joe D-Day kit that I talked about in my last video. But they're on their way. They got everything they need. There's still some stuff that I am going to do. Like I said, it's about 98% done. I am going to put a switch on this side so that I can run without the lights on. I think it's more realistic with the lights off, but being able to turn them on and show them off, that's kind of cool too. So we'll keep them. We'll just make them so you can turn them on and off. Also, the suspension. I need stiffer springs in the rear. But I got a little cool hobby shop down the road where they do a lot of crawlers, and man, they got crawlers like Mickey's got Tauntauns. They're everywhere, and I'm sure that they will have the right springs that I need for these. In the front, it's actually just about right. I got to run it outside and see how it acts after that, but in the front, it rides pretty much right in the middle of its travel. Also, about the chain, what do you think? It's not permanently attached yet. Keep it or leave it. I don't know, it's just a chain wrapped around there. I don't know. See what you guys think. Like I said before, stowage is a lot of the fun part for me. You can see I got the rope on there from the Siren Ship Model company. That's about a half a pack. And it's $8 a pack. So like I said, this stuff, it adds up pretty quick. And on the figures, like I said, because of the time frame that I'm using, how they're only 4 hours out from base camp, they've still got on clean uniforms and all that, but they've all got their proper kit, and you have to look closely to see it. This guy, he's got a K-bar back there, and you can see that they've both got Thompson 45 submachine guns tucked in next to them. And I was talking about how things add up quick. That grenade is like $6 all by itself, and then he's also, not sure you'll be able to see it or not, but he is carrying a 1911 45. You can just see the top of the holster there. Or excuse me, that's the butt of the Webley. The passenger, he didn't want to give up his Webley, so it's right there in a cross draw holster. You can see he's got his Webley revolver with him. And they're both carrying 1911s, hence the 2 cases of 45 ACP ammunition. You can see there he's got his 45, and he's got a nice knife. It's a quality knife. I think maybe he brought it from home. It might have been Grandpa's or something. You never know. It's got a pouch on it for the whetstone and all that. But like I said, the detail, that's what I had fun with, was the detail. So if you like this, if you want to have one for your very own, I figure there's 2 ways you can do it. You can spend the $500 for the Jeep and the Dragon kit, hunt up all the stuff on eBay, spend a bunch of money there, and then put it all together yourself. Or you could buy this one. I don't really want to sell it, but if somebody makes me the right offer, I probably would. But I won't take anything less than what I got into it. And like I said, I told you before what I think I got into it. I've done that too many times. Most famous was the Abrams. Put about $700 into it and sold it for $450. What a moron, eh? But if you wanted it, if you're interested, I think it'd ship pretty well because none of the stowage is attached. That would be in a separate box, and you'd have to put it all back together when you got it. But like I said, 98% finish. Got a little touch-up paint. Got to put in a switch. Got to check out some springs. I will get some footage of it outdoors as soon as weather permits. Most of the, like I said, I got these packs. I bought 8 of them. The rest of the packs I just picked up along the way with different figures that I bought used. But they're all attached with their own straps so they can be removed, and they're pretty firmly on there. Probably going to get rid of that bottle of wine. That's a little too obvious. Besides, and one thing about packing them with foam, you can then compress them in between stuff and it helps them stay in place. But there's a bottle tucked away down in there. And I'm seriously thinking about, they make little Jack Daniels bottles in this scale. And they're like, you get, I think, 3 of them for $5. As if I haven't spent enough money on it already. And then the space right here is still empty because I still want to put some kind of sniper rifle in there. This was the only Enfield I could find with a scope, and it's the design on the STL file was just bad. They used all flat surfaces, nothing curved, so it didn't, you know, it didn't print well. It would take a lot of work to make it into a decent piece, but it would have sit right here, and I would make scratch build some clamps too to hold it in place there. And I just pulled the trigger on a 1903 Springfield bolt action with the long scope, but it's a nice looking rifle, and that's what's going to be up there because I wanted them to have a sniper rifle. These guys are pretty well armed. They're both packing pistols. They both got submachine guns. They got 3 Vickers machine guns. That's another thing too. I might take all this stuff and move it over to the other side because I got a guy in Scotland is making me spare magazines for the Vickers in their canvas pouches, and I was thinking I'd tuck them right down in there where they're real handy for the to swap in the Vickers. But anyway, it was a fun project. I had a good time with it. I can't wait to get it outside and run it. I don't drive them really hard, you know, so I'm sure we all remember Rat Patrol when those Jeeps would come over those dunes and they'd get like 20 feet in the air, and even at that young age I knew that was Hollywood. You know, that was not very realistic at all. But so these, I tend to drive them a little more conservatively. I do run stuff though. If I want to run hard, I get one of these out. These things are such a blast. We have a good time with those. But usually I try to drive them like they are. They're Jeeps. They weren't hot rods, you know. And everything works out pretty good. So there she is. That's the SAS Desert Raider in 1/6 scale. 98% complete. But cosmetically, she's more like 99% complete. But we'll get some outdoor footage as soon as weather permits. Till then, we'll see you next time.